Introduction to Bradford, Winthrop, and the Puritans. Part 1 of Plymouth Plantation, Pilgrim History as Origin Myth. William Bradford's of Plymouth Plantation is a history of the Pilgrims, the founding of the Plymouth colony, and the years following. Essentially, it is the history of Plymouth Plantation. Bradford himself was one of the leaders of the Plymouth community. He served as governor of the Plymouth colony for many of its early years, so he was involved with the affairs of the colony, giving him an insider's perspective. If Bradford's history is a story of our beginnings, our origins, then we may ask what beliefs, philosophies, or ideas that we associate with America exist in his tale of the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims were separatists. Unlike other Puritans, they did not believe the Church of England could be purified from within. They also followed a Calvinistic doctrine that each church should be its own individual community, self-governed and separate from the greater church hierarchy. As the Church of England was a national church, such beliefs were considered treasonous, so they faced persecution and imprisonment for their practices. Desiring the right to believe and practice as they chose, they first moved to Holland for a time. However, for reasons Bradford outlines, impending war, difficulty earning a living, having an uncommon language and always feeling like foreigners, and fearing the influence this more liberal culture may have on their children, remaining in Holland was not their best option. After reading about America from travelers like John Smith, they petitioned the government for the right to establish a colony. The Pilgrims saw America as an opportunity to have their own place and their own church, where they could set up their own religious community and have the freedom to worship as they desired. Thus, we see in the story of the Pilgrims the origins of our American idealism: individualism, rights, freedom. There is also a need to forge a community based on their principles, as they had to band together to persevere alone in a new wilderness in harsh conditions in order to survive. The idea of America being a promised land may also be seen in this story, which leads to the idea of manifest destiny later on. Perhaps our view of America as a Christian nation has its origins in the Pilgrim story as well. Indeed, the Pilgrims' venture to America was an experiment to establish a religious-based community, their own theocracy. Here, they were free from civilization and the corruption of the old world, free to build a new society as they pleased. But there is also much to fear: an unknown wilderness and hostile environments that were populated by savages they perceived to be barbarous and treacherous. However, with God on their side and noble motives, they believed they would survive.